Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing and taking a look here at some brand new reveals by the Bad Batch producers and directors and writers of the show here, really specifically into the regards of Season 3's new team dynamic that we're seeing now with the Bad Batch here, and how the Bad Batch plans to move forward here. I think it's the perfect time to discuss and take a look here at these new reviews, or interviews much rather, by the show's producers, given that bit of a cliffhanger of episode 4 and what we're probably going to see throughout episode 5, really now seeing the Bad Batch come together in full circle and reuniting all together once again. We're going to go ahead and break it all down for you guys right now. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Okay, so in this video we are going to be taking a read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. As a read, the producers behind The Bad Batch Season 3 recently spoke about how the final set of episodes with the third season will be different than what had come before with the first two seasons of the show. The end of Season 2 brought some big changes to the show's landscape, of course. The original team member, Tech, tragically fell to his quote-unquote death, as we'll say for now, because I'm still holding hope onto that. But then on top of that, Omega was kidnapped and taken away by Dr. Hemlock to Mount Tantus. That is also where Crosshair was also being held prisoner at the time, at the very least. Now both Omega and Crosshair have escaped successfully and have now found much rather the rest of the remaining Bad Batch Hunter and Wrecker, really. I mean, Echo is still out there, out and about and around, working with Captain Rex and some other clones as a new rebellion pocket, and we hopefully will see Echo reunite with the rest of the Bad Batch squad members. But for now, taking a deep dive into Omega, Crosshair, Wrecker, and Hunter moving forward is going to be very much so quite interesting, and now from what we're hearing, different in comparison to how we've seen these characters before. In a recent exclusive interview with the Direct's Russ Billingham, the Bad Batch's Jennifer Corbett, the head writer, and Brad Rowe, supervising director of the show, spoke about how Season 3 will change things up for its final set of episodes in comparison to the first two episodes, or two seasons much rather, of the show, and also from when we see the Bad Batch in the Clone Wars Season 7 as well even. At the end of Season 2, one of the squad's core members, Tech, tragically perished during the botched mission. But, you know, as I said, that's tentative. Anyway, Jennifer Corbett, the head writer of the show, had pointed out on how Tech has always been the character that has kept the squad moving forward and going towards the main mission. And now the whole team is kind of grappling with what it means to exist and move on without him. She says that, in quote, "The whole squad has changed since the end of Season 2. Tech has always been the character that's been keeping the squad going and was able to solve a lot of problems for them as well. And now that he's gone, not only are they dealing with his loss, but also what it means for how they are going to work as a team. And throughout the season, Season 3, his absence is definitely felt with what they're doing." Ending that quote right there. Going into Season 3, another main key element is a brand new dynamic being introduced between Crosshair and Omega, and I loved Episode 4 for showing that off. Two characters who have really barely ever interacted before. Their dynamic, specifically Crosshair and Omega, is one of their favorites, admitted the show's supervisor, Brad Rowe, who also shared that writing those two opposite characters together was really quite fun, as they thought it would be. Saying that, in quote from Brad Rowe, "Yeah, I mean, it's one of our favorites as well. And D. Bradley Baker and Michelle Ang, who voiced the characters, they took to that relationship that we haven't seen in the first two seasons at all. They've not had an opportunity to really hardly share any screen time, Crosshair and Omega. We were just talking about it earlier, the way Jennifer Corbett, that you wrote the first episode of Season 3, it was the first time that you really hear Crosshair even say Omega's name. That's how little time that they've ever actually spent time together. So it was, I wouldn't say surprising, but as fun as we thought to have those two very opposite characters together. ending that quote right there. And it very much so was fun to see Omega and Crosshair come together for a common goal of escaping Mount Tantus, escaping the Empire, and seeing how those characters would really work together. It was honestly very interesting and honestly quite fun, a part of the show there as well. And so, as for what the biggest challenge going into the last season was for season 3 of The Bad Batch, Jennifer Corbett, the head writer, had noted that for her, it was getting the series finale right, bringing everything to a full circle and full closure. As she says that, in quote, "I would say the biggest challenge, just from a personal standpoint, is the finale, because it's the last content for the show, and wanting to make sure that we're balancing the action, the emotion, the heart in a fitting way. So because it's a sign off, that for me was the most challenging part. But I'm very happy with how it's turned out." Ending that quote right there. Now, being a Star Wars fan, I have to theorize on the idea that she doesn't necessarily say that it goes full circle or really full closure at that, even though it's kind of what we would anticipate, hope for, and expect with this being the show's 3rd and final season. So it does leave a bit of a leeway that maybe they would continue on these characters of the Bad Batch in a future Star Wars show later down the road, such as the Mandoverse, it's somewhere in the Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett, is something that's been heavily theorized and kind of hoped for amongst the Star Wars community with the fans, although even then I think that Omega would be the only clone to realistically ever make it to that age or to that part of the timeline. Also with the idea of that they would be able to get that happy ending, like they are just kind of be able to go off and live on an island that we saw from season 2 and kind of just live out their happy life. Brad Rowe had also jumped in with how they were just excited that they could wrap this show up in the way that they wanted to as well. When asked if there was anything in particular that the season that they did that they've always wanted to do throughout, Jennifer Corbett had cryptically teased that goals were achieved. And I love how cryptic these two are. It really brings a lot of fun, and it's fun to kind of look at it and break it down. So she says that in quote, "Yes, but it's I don't want to spoil anything. There are definitely things that happened later on that I was hoping for, and I'll be as cryptic as that." Ending that quote right there. It's pretty awesome, added Brad Rowe. So really, for one, not bringing the whole, season 3 full circle into a closure, but bringing the entirety of the show full circle and to a closure there as well. And then also even adding outside aspects and characters that we haven't seen within the Bad Batch specifically themselves, such as Asajj Ventress. Bringing her character into the mix of things is something that they are going to balance in, deal with, and tell the story of how everything goes on with that as a whole another key thing for season 3. But it does kind of give me hope, I'm not gonna lie, for kind of what happened with Tech. Maybe he does live, and maybe we will see that. Anyway guys, this here all being said, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.